For years, we have fought back against the big bankers trying to kill the crypto space. We've addressed this on multiple occasions. It's always been a growing narrative around crypto that the big banks absolutely can't stand what's happening with crypto because, listen, we're taking their lunch money. We are literally bullying these banks and taking their lunch money because everyone knows that banks are now, the unpopular kid. Nobody cares about these banks. People are laughing at these banks because of the inefficiencies. So if we're thinking about what's happening here, we are shaking them down. We're taking their customers. We're taking their money. And they don't like that. They don't like that at all. So these big banks now are running back to, the ones in charge, and they're telling on us. They're saying, oh, you need to go after them. You need to block them. You need to do something about, these bullies. They are taking our money. They are, shaking us down. So now we have things like this, which is just in US banks are lobbying to block stablecoin interest, warning it could trigger trillions in deposit outflows. Financial Times. Wall Street realizing Bitcoin and crypto are beating them at their own game. And yeah, listen, when we think about what's been happening over the last couple years now, so much in 2025, it hasn't really happened because, again, we have a completely different, SEC in front of us. We have a completely different environment. But before 2025, there was a crackdown, if you will, on crypto in the US. There was a lot of negative publicity thrown at, I don't want to say XRP specifically, but, just crypto in general. Crypto had a bad taste in everyone's mouth, especially after FTX and Luna, and regulators and big banks didn't help at all. In fact, they reinforced the idea that crypto is this big scam, that you need to stay away from crypto. And up until now, we kind of got rid of that, especially 2025. 2025 was the biggest changing point around this narrative of, oh, banks hate crypto, they will never touch crypto. That all changed in 2025. But this is from August 25th of this year. And on top of that, you guys already know about Ripple applying for a national bank charter, right? This got announced back in the beginning of July. We're still waiting to see, anything happen with this. However, more recently, in the beginning of August, we saw 42 banks are blocking Ripple's banking license. The BPI, representing 42 major US banks, has filed objections to Ripple's banking license application. The members include JP Morgan, Citi, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and even Goldman Sachs, as well as others. Yeah, this is still ongoing. They are terrified. They're scared. They're getting shaken down. They're getting bullied. But this is something that we have warned about for years. We've always talked about how banks will essentially become, useless. Nobody wants to go into a bank. Nobody wants to use a bank if they don't have to. Even when you think about cross-border payments, right? Like, these big banks are eating so much money off of the table and saying that it's fees. Oh yeah, that's the fee for sending money overseas. No. These big players, they want to eat up that money. They want to take, money away from you that would be sent back to, maybe employees that you hired overseas that were contractors, or maybe you have family overseas that you want to send money back home. Yeah, no, the big banks, they do not care. They are so greedy that they will take money off of you and say that it's a fee. This is why more and more people are switching to crypto and stablecoins to send and receive money across borders. Which takes me to the next subject here, which is stablecoins. Bloomberg. This is September 8th. Stablecoins, reserve-backed digital assets designed to track the value of currencies like the dollar, are seen as the next big thing in finance. But for regional banks reliant on customer deposits, their rise will be anything but stabilizing. Your paycheck in stablecoins, that's local banks' worst nightmare. And you better bet it is. But not for the reasons you think. Let's go over here to what Matt Hogan said. These scare articles about stablecoins destroying local lending markets are absurd. If local banks are worried about competition, from stablecoins, they should pay more interest on deposits. They're only worried because they've been abusing depositors as a free source of capital for decades. I could not say this more perfectly, right? This is exactly the problem with banks. They have abused a fraudulent system that has been put in place for decades. The fractional reserve banking system is a scam. It is broken. The banking system that we know of today, that's been around for decades, is a scam. They utilize what they have, aka the money depositors put in. They utilize it for their benefit, not for your benefit. If it was for your benefit, they would not be giving you, the percentage APY on savings accounts and, money market funds and things like that they offer. They would not be doing that. They would be competitive with the DeFi space. But the fact that they are going after this space instead of, working towards benefiting their current, customers tells us everything that we need to know, which is the fact that they would rather attack this space than try to compete with it because they do not want to lose money. But here we have, more importantly, the idea that credit will dry up if stablecoins compete with traditional bank accounts is classic first order thinking. Yes, banks will provide less credit if they have fewer deposits, but instead, people with stablecoins will provide credit directly to borrowers through DeFi applications. Markets are amazing at solving problems. The loser here is bank profit margins. The winner here is individual savers. The economy will be just fine. And yeah, I agree here. That's why when we think about why banks are in such a horrible mood, like they want to go after crypto in every way, shape, and form, is we go over here to this website, which is d.fi, right? This is the best yields out there, okay? 20+%, 19%. By the way, just going through this, we could see what APR is here, like what's the best APR. Obviously, some of this is not sustainable, but if we're looking at some of these percentages, it's insane. Why am I bringing this up though? Well, because again, the main reason why banks are terrified is because of the APY offered in crypto compared to the average bank interest rates for savings accounts, CDs, and more. Here we have the stats in front of us. So average bank account interest rates from mid-September to mid-October of this year. Regular savings accounts, 0.40%. Interest checking accounts, 0.07%. Okay, so savings accounts and checking accounts, yeah, we're not really earning much at all. It's so ridiculous. But surely CDs we are going to earn a ton of money on, right? Even money market deposit accounts, right? For a 1-year term CD account, 1.7%. A CD account of 3 years in terms of the term, 1.33%. And 5-year term, 1.34%. Then money market deposit accounts, 0.59%. This is laughable. When we think about the DeFi space, and we are going off of just some of these single token APR and APY platforms. Some of these, yeah, like I said, they are unsustainable, but some of them are not unsustainable. We can earn, 20+%. We can earn 30+%. This is not unheard of in the DeFi space. Why do you think people have been shuffling money around from banks into the DeFi space? It's because of the APY offered. Now, if you think that it ends there, no. We just heard from Coinbase's policy head. He's arguing that stablecoins don't cause deposit flight, countering recent concerns from banks and regulators. Here we have the full breakdown from the CPO from Coinbase. Banks claim stablecoins will drain deposits and harm lending, but there's no evidence supporting this. Bank attacks on Bipartisan Genius Act and on POTUS's crypto agenda aren't about stability. They're about protecting $187 billion in payment fees. Stablecoins modernize payments and save consumers billions. Congress should focus on promoting innovation and competition. This is good for consumers, for economic growth, and for the banks who want to innovate. Genius is now law. It's time for banks to stop fighting the last war. I could not say this more perfectly. Again, when we're thinking about this, yeah, they want to protect that $187 billion that they are eating off of. This is all payment fees. Think about that, $187 billion in just payment fees alone. And then we wonder why these banking CEOs are out, on their yachts and they're buying up mansions and they're buying this, buying that. And we're just sitting here wondering, how do these people have so much money? Well, it's because of this, right? They are taking a large portion of that $187 billion. They're reinvesting. They're growing the business. The business is doing well because, again, these big banks, guess what? It doesn't matter if the economy is doing good, bad, it's, crashing, it's pumping. Guess what? These big banks, they continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. We go back to even 2023 into 2024, all the bank collapses that happened. Guess who, bought them up? JP Morgan. You might be saying, well, they probably didn't buy up too much, right? Guess what? They held more than 10% of all the deposits, all of the banking deposits in the US, which is against regulations. It's illegal to do, but the regulators gave them the green light. If that doesn't tell you what type of monopoly system is running in front of us with these big banks, I don't know what will. But remember, this is all based around banks being in control. And also, another clear confirmation that the banks are fighting stablecoins right now is this announcement here. This is crazy. The Bank of England is proposing a cap on individual stablecoin holdings, limiting ownership to just £10,000 to £20,000 per person in the name of systemic risk. This is absurd, and we need to push back against this kind of regulation. Stablecoins issued on-chain do not pose greater risk than traditional electronic money issued on more fragile electronic databases. This is insane. The central bankers now want to put a cap on how much stablecoin holdings you can hold. This is ridiculous. Again, the banks are terrified. They know that crypto's coming for their lunch money. They know that no matter who they run to tell on, guess what? It doesn't matter. The game is already rigged against them. Crypto is winning. The banks are terrified. And it's the number one reason why we're starting to see banks innovate, right? They're now starting to open up and offer crypto trading. It's because they know that they lost. They tried to do everything. They tried to get regulators to go after the space. It failed. They tried to say that crypto was a big scam. They tried to manipulate media to shake everyone out. It failed. And now they are putting out more mainstream media articles talking about how crypto's this, crypto's that, stablecoins are a risk, stablecoins are this, and it's not going to work. You know why? Because technology doesn't care about these big banks. They don't care about the deep pockets that these CEOs, need and want. It doesn't care. Technology continues to advance. Crypto continues to become bigger and bigger and bigger. Adoption is heating up more and more. The market is not going to slow down for these banks. These big banks are terrified. They are scared. Ripple, right? We've talked about Ripple and XRP for years and years now. Ripple and XRP are extremely terrifying to these big banks because they know that anything that they do, it doesn't even matter if they do it with new technology, right? Anything that they try to accomplish, Ripple and XRP can do better. If I was a bank, I would be terrified of this. I would be scared of crypto as well because I know that the days of me eating off the backs of depositors, those days are numbered. We are starting to see the shift happen in real time. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, notifications on it because I'm a free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.